What up, what up, what up? This is your boy Agree to Disagree, and I'm coming at you again with another video review. As always, I have some great content coming your way, so let's get right to it.
This is a day in the life of a childless woman. I wake up at 6 a.m. I remember that I have no kids to take to school, so I take an edible, masturbate, and go back to sleep. I wake up at 12:30 p.m. and get ready for a busy day of doing whatever the I feel like. I put on my most impractical and stylish shoes since I won't be chasing a child around the grocery store. I go to my fave spot in Paris to grab a croissant. I do a meditation sesh on the plane since I have no screaming kids, allowing me all the time in the world to become enlightened. The weightlessness of my existence has granted me superhuman powers. I teleport myself back home. Then I get ready for a night out with whatever hot guy I met on Raya that morning. I call up a babysitter and tell her that I don't need her since I still don't have kids. Now it's time for a workout, so I hit Mount Everest for a quick climb. I invent a time machine, go back in time, and kill Hitler. Freeze, you bastard! It's amazing what you can do when you have this much free time. And that's a day in the life of a childless woman.
That's cute. That's really cute. But I feel like she left some things out. So let me see if I can fill in the blanks where she may have skipped over some things. I wake up in my bed all alone and say good morning to myself because there's no one else there. I then have to resort to masturbating because I can't seem to commit to a man, and the whole waking up in the arms of your loved one is just ugh. A committed relationship requires compromise, and I'm above all that bullshit. I then leave an empty house and kiss no one goodbye because there's no one there. And yes, I get to travel and go places, but no one calls or texts to make sure my plane landed safely or if I made it home safe because all my friends are just as self-absorbed as I am. I also engage in high-risk sexual behavior by hooking up with random men because a committed relationship is just too much work. And yes, I'm free to do whatever I want and engage in all sorts of activities, but I have no one to share those memories with because I just rather be alone. Doesn't that sound great? But let me get serious with you guys for a moment. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every woman over 40 who's single and childless should just go jump off a bridge somewhere because there's no hope for them, right? As a woman, you can still have a fulfilling life without family. But we do need to understand that going your whole life without a spouse, without kids, it's not all rainbow and sunshine, nor is it all doom and gloom either. So there's some truth in what Chelsea Handler was saying, but there's also a lot of truth in the story that I told. So before we start encouraging women to choose career over family, we need to have an honest discussion about what these women are signing up for. Because once you pass that threshold of no longer having your youthful looks and no longer being fertile, that's it. There's no going back. You can't, get in a time machine and fix your mistakes. And a lot of women regret not securing a man when they had their youthful looks. And a lot of women regret not having children when they were at their peak fertility. And yes, if you're single and childless, you have all the freedom in the world. But what you also have is loneliness. So there's a trade-off there. And sure, you can have friends who you can spend your time with and share things with. But what happens when those friends have families of their own? They will always put their family first. And as their family grows, that's going to be more time that they spend with their family and less time with you. And that's the great thing about getting married and having a spouse. It's the idea of having someone who's always there for you, someone you can depend on, someone who will hold you at night. But I guess having a good career just kind of trumps all of that. And another thing, who the hell said you can't have both, Chelsea Handler? You can have an amazing career and a family at the same time. Women do it all the time. There's Beyonce, Michelle Obama, Serena Williams, Angelina Jolie, hell, Nicki Minaj. I can go on and on and on of all the women who have successful careers and they have a loving family. And you can sit here and say, "Oh, well, those women are exceptional," but so is Chelsea Handler, right? Just because you are single and childless does not mean that you're going to have the funds to go and travel the world and go to all these different places. The average woman is staying right where they're at in a two-bedroom apartment. Just because you don't have kids doesn't necessarily mean you're rich now. I mean, not to mention, if you were someone who was married, now you're splitting the bills right down the middle. So if you had a partner, you would actually be saving money. But it's just funny to me that when women who don't have a spouse and don't have children, when they try to convince other women of how great the life is, they start talking about things that also married women can do as well. I mean, and I'm recording right now. A married woman with kids can still dress sexy. A married woman with kids can still go and travel. And they can still have a great career. Who knew? And you know what's better than going on vacation by yourself? Going on vacation with a loved one, with your husband, with your spouse, with your children. And what makes it better is not just about your happiness, it's about the happiness of the people in your life as well, and sharing that experience with them. And listen, I would agree that it can get hard to juggle both family and career, but that's why you have to make the decision of choosing a loving and supportive husband who can help bring balance to your life. And some of you guys may not know this, but some of the most depressed women are women over 40, single, and making over six figures. So the question is the career really going to bring these women the happiness that they are looking for? And I want you guys to take a look at this chart. It's statistics showing the percentage of women on antidepressants compared to men. And if you look here, 1 in 5 women over 40 are on antidepressants. That is twice as much as men, and that number only gets higher as they get older. This is in large part due to social media and the ridiculous beauty standards that we put on women. But when you are a woman who finds you a man who loves you for you and not just your beauty, as you get older, you still have that man who will love you for who you are. So now you no longer have to compete with these 20-something-year-olds with their perky breasts and tight butts, and you will never be able to keep up with them because there's always going to be new 20-something-year-olds that you will have to compete with in the dating market. And of course, you still want to look good for your partner, but that same pressure of having to compete and keep up these certain beauty standards will no longer be there because it's no longer being tied to finding a partner, because you already have someone who's willing to love you no matter how old you get and no matter how many wrinkles appear on your face. As of right now, 80% of women on this planet will go on to procreate, which is great, because if 80% of women had the mindset of Chelsea Handler and didn't want a husband, didn't want to procreate, didn't really believe in the whole nuclear family aspect, that would be bad for society. And I know I'm going to get angry women in the comments saying, "Why does it matter to you if she doesn't want a husband and kids?" Right? It matters to me because I tend to favor the things that work best for society. And what works best for society is long-term monogamous relationships and the nuclear family. So what I'll say to women is this: if you don't want a husband, if you don't want children, that is fine. But just know what exactly you are signing up for, because once you go down that path, there's no coming back. People who truly enjoy being alone and by themselves, those are people in the minority. There is a reason that solitary confinement is a punishment. As human beings, we crave human interaction. And some of the best relationships that we will ever have in our lives are going to be with our spouse and with our children and our family. At the end of the day, life is all about the relationships that you make in your life. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. That is all I have for you today. Please let me know what you thought of the video. What points did you agree with? What points did you disagree with? Leave your comments below and let me know what you thought. And if you got anything out this video, hit that like button. This is Agree to Disagree. I'm out.